Okay, we're almost underway again with power energy and power contracting restricted open. Just before we get started, I would like to thank the Pump House, Davy Pumps, Philmac Valves and Fittings and Rodden Industries Irrigation for sponsoring the live stream throughout this week. And on that note, a very big thank you to 5Stream for their friendly professional service over the last 5 days. And all of you out there, when you go home, don't forget to jump on to Willinga Park's YouTube channel for all of the streamed action. For the week, and yeah, calls for a gate, and she's out on course. Competitor 101, Hannah Blockland, and Equaliser. Joe Payne comes on camp. Competitor 102 in style. Standby 103, Michael Hayes, Shadak Porsche. 104, Will Durkin, Young Star, Marnie's Glamour. But we watch competitor 101, Hannah Blockland, and Equaliser. Score for Hannah Blockland and Equaliser, cut out 21.5, horsework 57.5, course 4 for a total of 83. 83 points for Hannah Blockland and Equaliser. This is our Mundubra horseman, Joe Payne, riding in style, comes in as competitor 102. Standing by 103, Michael Hayes, 104, Will Durkin, 105, Cameron Webster, 106, Jake Gray. Outside, Joe Payne in style. Score for Will Durkin and Young Stars Marnie's Glamour, cut out 22, horsework 62.5, course 4 for a total of 88.5 points for competitor 104. We now watch competitor 105, Cameron Webster and Paris. Standing by 106, Jake Gray, 107, Jay Hall, 108, Jason Lindley, 109, Matthew Moffat, 110, Alan Sullivan, 111, Peter Knudsen. But it's Cameron Webster we watch, riding Paris, competitor number 105. Score for Cameron Webster's Paris, cut out 22, horsework 59.5, course 4 for a total of 86.5 for Cameron Webster and Paris. Out on course, competitor 106, Kimberly Salmon. Kimberly's riding Juliet's Romeo. She is competitor number 106. Standing by 107, Jay Hall, 108, Jason Lindley, 109, Matthew Moffat, 110, Alan Sullivan, 111, Peter Knudsen, 112, Mark Budsworth, 113, Regan O'Donnell, 114, Luke Bennett. Score for Kimberly Salmon and Juliet's Romeo, cut out 22.5, horsework 62.5, course 4 for a total of 89 points. 89 points for Kimberly Salmon and Juliet's Romeo. Out on course 107, Jay Hall with Khaleesi. This is Noel Daly's nomination. That's Jay's dad. Into the camp goes 108, Jason Lindley, then standby 109, Matthew Moffat, 110, Alan Sullivan, 111, Peter Knudsen, 112, Mark Budsworth. We watch competitor 107, Jay Hall and Khaleesi. We'll have a score shortly for Jay. 108's on camp, Jason Lindley, Genuine Checks. Score for J Hall and Khaleesi, cut out 21, horsework 63.5, course 4, for a total of 88.5, 88.5 for J Hall and Khaleesi. Looking over his cattle now is competitor 108, Jason Lindley and Genuine Checks. Jason hails from Gracemere, and this is his own nomination. Standing by 109, Matthew Moffat. You'll be next on Juliet. And following Matthew, we'll have 110, Alan Sullivan, 111, Peter Knutson, 112, Mark Buttsworth, 113, Regan O'Donnell, 114, Luke Bennett, 115, Jock Weston, 116, Ty Blockland, 117, Jamie Gray, 118, Will Durkin, 119, Louise Comiskey. Please stand by. The person of the moment is Jason Lindley, riding Genuine Checks, competitor number 108. Twenty-one for cut out there for Jason Lindley and Genuine Checks. Next competitor, this is K&E Hanrahan's nomination, written here today by Matthew Moffat. This is Juliet. This is competitor 109. Standing by 110, Alan Sullivan, 111, Peter Knutson, 112, Mark Buttsworth, and 113, Regan O'Donnell. And Matthew Moffat heads out on course, competitor 109, riding Juliet, owned by K&E Hanrahan. Score for Matthew Moffat and Juliet, cut out 23, horsework 63.5, course 4. That's a 90.5. 90.5 for Matthew Moffat and Juliet. Puts him up around that second place. I think there's a couple of 90.5s. We watch now competitor 110, Alan Sullivan and Django. I believe there's 4 on 90.5. So there's a number of people on that second place score. We now watch competitor 110, Alan Sullivan, Django. Standby number 111, Peter Knutson's Memphis, 112. Mark Buttsworth, One Stylish Madonna, 113, Regan O'Donnell's Blue Steel, 114, Luke Bennett's Barmac Lashes, and 115 will be Jock Weston and Hazelwood Contrast. Currently watching competitor 110, Alan Sullivan and Django. 17 for cut out there for Alan. You're watching competitor 111, Peter Knutson and Memphis. Mark Buttsworth, you're next. If you'd come into the camp at 112 with 1 Stylish Madonna. Standing by there, 113 Regan O'Donnell's Blue Steel, 114 Luke Bennett's Barmac Lashes, 115 Jock Weston's Hazelwood Contrast, 116 Ty Blockland's Has Action Spider, and then 117 Jamie Gray's Highway to Hell. I have a score for Peter Knutson and Memphis. Cut out 21.5, Horseworks 64, course 4, for a total of 89.5. 89.5 for Peter Knutson and Memphis. This is Chris Cummins' nomination, written here today by Mark Buttsworth. He comes in as competitor 112, riding 1 Stylish Madonna. On course, Mark Buttsworth, 1 Stylish Madonna. Into the camps, 113, Regan O'Donnell, Blue Steel. Standby, 114, Luke Bennett, 115, Jock Weston, 116, Ty Blockland, 117, Jamie Gray, 118, Will Durkin, 119, Louise Comiskey. And that was a 20.5. 20.5 for Mark Buttsworth, 1 Stylish Madonna. And if you've just logged on, you're watching the Power Energy and Power Contracting Restricted Open Camp Draft. And the competitor on course is competitor 113, Regan O'Donnell and Blue Steel. 114 comes on camp, Luke Bennett, standby 115, Jock Weston, 116, Ty Blockland, 117, Jamie Gray, 118, Will Durkin, 119, Louise Comiskey, and 120, Stuart Wallace. And we have a 21 for cutout for competitor 113, Regan O'Donnell. Next is Evan and Kim Acton's nomination to be ridden by Luke Bennett. This is Barmac Lashes. And Luke is competitor 114. Standing by 115, Jock Weston, 116, Ty Blockland, 117, Jamie Gray, 118, Will Durkin, 119, Louise Comiskey, 120, Stuart Wallace, 121, Pete Comiskey, 122, Rowan Marks, 123, Danny Kogel, 124, Joe Payne, 125, Ben Hall, 126, Laura Comiskey, and 127 will be Evan Hiscock. Outside we watch Kim and Evan Acton's Barmac Lashes, ridden today by Luke Bennett. Jocks on camp, Jock Weston at 115 with Hazelwood Contrast. Score for Luke Bennett and Barmac Lashes, cut out 16.5, Horseworks 60.5, course 4 for a total of 81 points. It's an 81-point rounder there for Luke Bennett and Barmac Lashes. Move down now to competitor 115, Jock Weston, riding Hazelwood Contrast. Hazelwood Contrast is owned by Josh and Danae Phelps. Standing by 116, Ty Blockland, you'll be next. Then we'll have 117, Jamie Gray, 118, Will Durkin. Cut-out score for Jock Weston and Hazelwood Contrast of 15.5. Next competitor, 116, Ty Blockland, Has Action Spider. Standing by then, 117, Jamie Gray, 118, Will Durkin, 119, Louise Comiskey, 120, Stuart Wallace. Out on course, competitor 116. This is Ty Blockland and Has Action Spider. Standing by 117, Jamie Gray, 118, Will Durkin, 119, Louise Comiskey, 120, Stuart Wallace, 121, Pete Comiskey. Score for Ty Blockland and Has Action Spider, cut out 22, horsework 62.5, course 4, for a total of 88.5 for Ty Blockland and Has Action Spider. Next competitor, 117, is Jamie Gray. Jamie comes in at 117, standing by 118, Will Durkin, 119, Louise Comiskey, 120, Stuart Wallace, 121, Pete Comiskey, 122, Rowan Marks, 123, Danny Kogel, 124, Joe Payne, 125, Ben Hall, 126, Laura Comiskey, 127, Evan Hiscock, 128, Tom Denson, 129, Wade Warrion, 130, Rick Hopkins, 131, Troy Palmer. There's 147 horses to run to complete the Power Energy and Power Contracting Restricted Open, and we're currently at competitor 117. Jamie Gray, Highway to Hell. Score for Jamie Gray and Highway to Hell, cut out 22, horsework 62, calls 4 for an 88. 88 points for Jamie Gray and Highway to Hell. Next competitor, 118, Will Durkin, Hazelwood Conspiracy. Standing by 119, Louise Comiskey's LD Zahara. Score for Will Durkin and Hazelwood Conspiracy, cut out of 22, Will Durkin. Next competitor 119, Louise Comiskey and LD Zahara. Stand by 120, Stuart Wallace, 121, Pete Comiskey, 122, Rowan Marks, 123, Danny Kogel. Now watching competitor 119, Louise Comiskey and LD Zahara. Stewie Wallace, you'll be next at 120 with Catnap. Standing by then 121, Pete Comiskey, 122, Rowan Marks, 123, Danny Kogel. Scores in for Louise Comiskey and LD Zahara, cut out of 21. 21 there for Louise. We go down now to competitor 120. This isn't the combination, but certainly the fellow who won the Open yesterday, Stewie Wallace. And this is Catnap he rides today. Standing by 121, Pete Comiskey, 122, Rowan Marks, 123, Danny Kogel, 124, Joe Payne. You're watching competitor 120, Stewie Wallace and Catnap. Standing by 121, Pete Comiskey, 122, Rowan Marks. Score for Stuart Wallace and Catnap, cut out 23, Horsework 62.5, course 4 for a total of 89.5. That's an 89.5 for Stuart Wallace and Catnap. Next competitor 121, Pete Comiskey, Yavin Smooth Sailing. Standing by then 122, Rowan Marks, Turner's Stud Cowboy, 123, Danny Kogel's One Roan Hankey, 124, Joe Payne's Spin Ray, 125, Ben Hall's El Torrio, 126, Laura Comiskey's Dash, 127, Evan Hiscock's Nix. If those competitors could please stand by. And we're watching currently competitor 121, Pete Comiskey, Yavin Smooth Sailing. This horse is owned by Jordan McDowell. And Pete's out on course now with Yavin Smooth Sailing, owned by Jordan McDowell. 122 goes on cab, Rowan Marks. Stand by 123, Danny Kogel. 124, Joe Payne. 125, Ben Hall. Score for Pete Comiskey and Yavin Smooth Sailing, cut out 17, horsework 62.5, course 4. That's an 83.5 for Pete Comiskey and Yavin Smooth Sailing. This is Shane Turner's nomination, ridden by Rowan Marks, riding Turner's Stud Cowboy. He comes in as competitor 122. Rowan will be followed by 123, Danny Kogel. 1 Roan Hankey. 124, Joe Payne. Spin Ray. 125, Ben Hall. Hall's El Torrio. But all eyes are on competitor 122, Rowan Marks, riding Shane Turner's Stud Cowboy. And he has a cutout score of 21. Just another call out. There is a pair of Prada glasses that are up here in the secretary's box. They've been lost on the grounds this weekend. So if you can't find your reading glasses or your glasses, there's a pair of black and white Prada glasses here in the they're prescription glasses, and they're here in the announcer's box. You now watch competitor 123, Danny Kogel, and 1 Roan Hankey, standing by 124, Joe Payne. 125, Ben Hill. 126, Laura Comiskey. 127, Evan Hiscock. 128, Tom Denson. 129, Wade Warrion. 130, Rick Hopkins. 131, Troy Palmer. 132, Michael Reid. 133, Kurt Hanrahan. 134, John Mulcahy. And 135, Lexi Payne. If those competitors could please stand by. And we have a 21 for cutout for Danny Kogel and 1 Roan Hankey, competitor 123. So this is Rory Fitzgerald and Joe Payne's nomination, Spin Ray. Competitor 124 we watch, Joe Payne and Spin Ray. This horse belongs to Rory Fitzgerald and Joe. Into the camps 125, Ben Hall. Stand by 126, Laura Comiskey. 127, Evan Hiscock. 128, Tom Denson. 129, Wade Warrion. And 130, Rick Hopkins. Score for Joe Payne and Spin Ray. Cut out 23, horsework 60, course 4 for a total of 87. It's an 87-point run for Joe Payne and Spin Ray. It's a 23, 60 and 4. We now watch 125, Ben Hall and Hall's El Torrio. He's out on course into the camp. 126, Laura Comiskey. 127, Evan Hiscock, you'll be next. Oh, sorry. Score for Ben Hall and Hall's El Torrio, cut out 21.5, 21.5. That's no score there for Laura. We're just tidy up the camp and we'll continue down to competitor 127, Evan Hiscock's Nix. Standing by, then we'll have 128, Tom Denson, Hazelwood, Mia Conacre. 129, Wade Warriors, Meg. 130, Rick Hopkins, Oaks, Spin and Cat. 131, Troy Palmer's Short Fuse. 132, Michael Reed's Mighty and Lace. 133, Kurt Hanrahan's PV Grasshopper. And 134 will be John Mulcahy, Stratton, Just Rosie. Just once again, we would like to take the opportunity to thank the Pump House, Davy Pumps, Philmac Valves and Fittings and Rodney Industries for sponsoring our live stream this weekend. Also, a very big thank you to 5Stream, our live stream partners, for their friendly, professional service over the last 5 days. And don't forget, when you get home, jump on the Willinga Parks YouTube channel for all of the streamed action for the entire week. You'll see the highlights, the wrap-ups and other action. And we're underway again with competitor 127, Evan Hiscock and Nix. Into the camp goes 128, Tom Denson, Hazelwood, Mia Conacre, and then we'll have 129, Wade Warriors, Meg. And you're currently watching competitor number 27, Evan Hiscock and Nix. Also like to thank our judges here this afternoon, Pete and Tony O'Neill. Asked them yesterday, do they get into any halts when they get home about their judging, but they said no, it's not a problem. And we have a score for Evan Hiscock and Nick's cut out 22, horsework 64, course 4 for a total of 90. It's 90 points. Evan Hiscock and Nick's. Have a camp score shortly. 22 for cut out there for Tom Denson and Hazelwood Mia Conacher. Compared to 129, just waiting on his fresh, is Wade Warrior riding Meg. Standing by 130, Rick Hopkins, Oaks, Spinning Cat, 131, Troy Palmer, Short Fuse. Score for Tom Denson and Hazelwood Mia Conacher of 22. We now watch competitor 129, Wade Warrior and Meg. Stand by 130, Rick Hopkins, 131, Troy Palmer, 132, Michael Reid, 133, Kurt Hanrahan, 134, John Mulcahy, 135, Lexi Payne.
Little yellow fella trotting into the corner, the yellow fella there. Keep him up here. Keep him up here. Let him go.
16 for cut out there for Wade Warrior and Meg. Next competitor 130, Rick Hopkins. Stand by 131, Troy Palmer, 132, Michael Reid.
That fella there at the gate in the middle.
Just on a little tidy up in the camp, and we're just waiting on fresh. And very shortly we'll be watching Tom and Gwenda Rayleigh's nomination, Oaks Spinning Cat, ridden here this afternoon by Rick Hopkins, competitor 130. Standing by is 131, Troy Palmer, 132, Michael Reid, 133, Kurt Hanrahan, 134, John Mulcahy, and 135, Lexi Payne.
right, thank you. They're doing something else. So you're not allowed to have that doing.
Watch Tom and Gwenda Rayleigh's nomination, Oaks Spin and Cat. Ridden today by Rick Hopkins. Rick is out on course, competitor 130. On camp goes 131, Troy Palmer, Short Fuse. Standing by 132, Michael Reed's Mighty and Lace, and 133, Kurt Hanrahan's PV Grasshopper. Score for Rick Hopkins and Oaks Spin and Cat, cut out 22, horsework 62.5, course 4 for a total of 88.5. 88.5 for Rick Hopkins and Oaks Spin and Cat. Total score, Troy Palmer and Short Fuse, 21.5. 21.5 for Troy Palmer and Short Fuse, competitor 131. 132 is our next competitor, Michael Reed, Mighty in Lace. Kurt Hanrahan, 133, PV Grasshopper, you'll be our next competitor in. Standing by, we 134, John Mulcahy, Stratton Just Rosie, 135, Lexi Payne's Girl Style, 136, Matt Knutson, One Time Crimson, 137, Will Durkin's Bonera Debonair, and 138, Jackie Knutson's Talk About Design. 147 competitors to run to complete the Power Energy and Power Contracting Restricted Open. And we're currently at competitor 132. Some quick maths there, and I believe that's 16 competitors left to run. Score for Michael Reed and Mighty in Lace, cut out 15.5. 15.5. Next competitor, 133, Kurt Hanrahan, PV Grasshopper. Then we'll have 134, John Mulcahy, 135, Lexi Payne, 136, Matt Knutson, 137, Will Durkin, 138, Jackie Knutson, 139, Jess Hoffman, 140, David Reeder, 141, Robert Leach, 142, Cameron Webster, 143, Jason Comiskey, 144, Louise Comiskey. 145, Harry Steger. 146, Kimberly Salmon. And last but certainly not least is Andrew Turvey. He's competitor 147. So if those competitors could please stand by. But you watch now, competitor 133, Kurt Hanrahan, riding PV Grasshopper. Score for Kurt Hanrahan and PV Grasshopper of 23. 23 for cut out there for Kurt. John Mulcahy we watch, riding Stratton Just Rosie. He's competitor 134. 135's on camp, Lexi Payne with Girl Style. Standing by 136, Matt Knutson, One Time Crimson. And we'll have a score shortly for John Mulcahy and Stratton Just Rosie. Cut out 22, horsework 62, course 4 for an 88. 22, 62 and 4 for an 88 for John Mulcahy and Stratton Just Rosie. We move down the page to competitor 135, Lexi Payne and Girl Style. Lexi's out on course in the camp. 136, Matt Knutson, One Time Crimson. Standing by 137, Will Durkin. 138, Jackie Knutson. 139, Jess Hoffman. 140, David Reeder. 141, Robert Leach. 142, Cameron Webster. 143, Jason Comiskey. 144, Louise Comiskey. 145, Harry Steger. 146, Kimberly Salmon. And 147, Andrew Turvey. But you're watching competitor 135, Lexi Payne and Girl Style. Score for Lexi, cut out 22, horsework 62, course 4 for an 88. That's another 88, 22, 62 and 4 for an 88 for Lexi Payne's Girls Style. $21.5 for Matt Knutson and One Time Crimson. This is Rick Young's nomination, ridden by Will Durkin. This is Benera Debonair, competitor 137. Standing by 138, Jackie Knutson, 139, Jess Hoffman, 140, David Rita. Out on course, Rick Young's Benera Debonair, ridden this afternoon by Will Durkin. He comes out as competitor 137. Standing by then 138, Jackie Knutson, 139, Jess Hoffman, 140, David Rita. Score for Will Durkin and Benera Debonair, cut out 22, horsework 64, course 4 for a 90. It's a 90-point run for Will Durkin and Benera Debonair. We now watch competitor 138, Jackie Knutson, talk about design. 22.5 for cutout there for Jackie Knutson and talk about design. We move down to 139, Jess Hoffman, riding Peter and Dell Glen Wright's Lady Antebellum. Standing by then 140, David Reeder, 141, Robert Leach, 142, Cameron Webster. I'd just like to thank GM Photography. That was Grace. She's been around here for the week taking photographs. So I'd give her a couple of days, maybe even a week for when she gets home. She'll have thousands of photographs But have a look on her website. That's GM Photography. And we certainly have appreciated Grace's photography. I've had lots of lovely things said about the photographs that are up on the on Facebook. So congratulations, Grace, on the wonderful work that you've done over the week. Now we watch competitor 139, Jess Hoffman and Lady Antebellum. 140 stands by, David Reeder. Also 141, Robert Leach. 142, Cameron Webster. 143, Jason Comiskey. And 144, Louise Comiskey. I'll have a score shortly for Jess Hoffman and Lady Antebellum. Cut out 15.5, horsework 60, course 4 for a total of 79.5. 79.5 for Jess Hoffman and Lady Antebellum. On course, competitor 140, David Reeder and Coolum Recon. Standing by 141, Robert Leach. 142, Cameron Webster. 143, Jason Comiskey. 144, Louise Comiskey. On this stage, we still have an outright winner at this stage. We also have an outright cutout winner, but we'll see what happens as we progress through these last few riders. Score for David Reeder and Coolum Recon, cut out 16.5, horsework 63.5, course 4 for a total of 84. It's an 84-point run for David Reeder and Coolum Recon. Our next competitor is 141, Robert Leach, Peel Vale Truce. Standing by 142, Cameron Webster and Lani Akers. 143, Jason Comiskey Saintly. 144, Louise Comiskey, Savvy Dancing Cat. 145, Harry Steegers Conrad. 146, Kimberly Salmon, Smith Family Eve. And 146 was Kimberly. 147, Andrew Turvey's Telly. But it's Robert Leach we watch, competitor 141 with Peel Vale Truce. He's out on the course. Cameron Webster, you're coming on camp at 142 with Lani Akers. Score for Robert Leach and Peel Vale Truce. That's a 20 for cutout. 20 for Robert Leach and Peel Vale Truce. Local competitor Cameron Webster is on camp with Lani Akers, competitor 142. This is Peter and Yvonne Webster's nomination. 143 goes on camp, Jason Comiskey. 144, Louise Comiskey. Score for Cameron Webster and Lani Akers. Cut out 22, horsework 59, course 3 for a total of 84. It's an 84-point run for Cameron Webster and Lani Akers. Next competitor, 143, Jason Comiskey, Saintly. Then we'll have 144, Louise Comiskey, Savvy Dancing Cat, and 145, Harry Steegers, Conrad. Score for Jason Comiskey and Saintly. Cut out 22, horsework 64.5, course 4 for a total of 90.5. It's a 90.5 run for Jason Comiskey and Saintly. $144 is our next competitor, Louise Comiskey, Savvy Dancing Cat. Harry Steger will follow with Conrad. Then we'll have 146, Kimberly Salmon. And last but not least, 147, Andrew Turvey. You now watch competitor 144, Louise Comiskey and Savvy Dancing Cat. 3 competitors left to run after Louise to complete the Power Energy and Power Contracting Restricted Open Camp Draft, which will pay 6 places. At this point in time, we have an outright cutout winner and we have an outright winner, but we still have 3 competitors left to compete. Cut out 16, horsework 58.5, course 4 for a total of 78.5 for Louise Comiskey and Savvy Dancing Cat. This is Harry Steger and Conrad. He comes in as competitor 145. Kimberly, you'll be next with Smith Family Eve. 22 for Harry Steger and Conrad. Kimberly's on camp with Smith Family Eve, and it's a bit lonely out there, Andrew. We seem to have everyone's dissipated. And Andrew waits. Andrew Turvey and Telly will be our final competitor at 147. Could we have someone out in the arena just to watch that corner there? We have a number of cattle that are sort of heading around this way. We wouldn't like to have them out on the course. Thank you so much. Look at that speed. Thank you. Out on course, competitive 146, Kimberley Salmon and Smith's Family Eve. Score for Kimberley Salmon and Smith's Family Eve, cut out 22, horsework 63, course 4, total of 89. It's an 89-point run for Kimberley Salmon and Smith's Family Eve. And we watch our last competitor, 147, Andrew Turvey and Telly. Score for Andrew Turvey and Telly, cut out 22, horsework 60, course 4 for an 86. It's 86 for Andrew Turvey and Telly. So we'll have our 6 place getters very shortly, but I can tell you the cutout prize will go to Troy Palmer and Blue Tunes. And I can also tell you that the winner of this Power Energy and Power Contracting Restricted Open will be Steve Comiskey and Hat Fuller Jules with a total score of 91. Give you the other place getters very, very shortly. We will be doing the presentation of the Power Energy and Power Contracting Restricted Open at the completion of the Shootout Novice. We'll do them all together. So thank you, competitors. I'm going to hand you over to Sean O'Hanlon to complete the rest of the day, and thank you also from myself to the committee here for the opportunity to announce for you for the weekend.
Right into it. After that's more copies than the copies. You don't know, you know.
you in the backyard?
Well, thank you very much, Leslie. Thank you very much for all your efforts throughout the course of the program. It's been great to work with you again here at Juandah Plains for 2024. We will need these people present for the restricted presentation, which will be at the end of our novice shootout. So if you are 90 and a half or above, we'll need Jason Comiskey, Matthew Moffat, Steve Comiskey, John Mulcahy, and Jason Lindley. So Stevie Comiskey, you will be receiving 2 presentations. We will need those 6 people, or those 5 people, to fill those 6 places for the restricted open presentation. All right, all you novice shootout competitors, I will call out the first 20. We do realise there's been a few draws sent out, so this is your first 20 in the novice shootout. First out will be Laura Comiskey riding Woody. Second out will be Peter Black riding Out of Time. Third out will be Ben Hall riding Hall's Accordion. 4 will be Steve Comiskey riding Dealt Me an Acre. Fifth out will be Matthew Moffat riding Conflict. Sixth out will be Kimberly Salmon riding Platinum Coals. Number 7 out will be Bryony Putticombe riding Toonga Chrome. Number 8 out will be Morgan Marks riding Lady. John Meek, you'll be in 9 riding Macca. Number 10 will be Harry Steger riding Hazelwood Cold Chisel. Cameron Webster will be out in 11 riding Clarence. Number 12 will be Wal Vivas riding Nibberina Miss Minaj. Number 13 will be Brendan Fitzgerald riding Sunita's Stylish Lass. Number 14 will be Peter Rath riding Tic Tac. Bradley Comiskey will be in 15. Riding Blood Royal. Number 16 will be Morgan Marks riding Kerber. 17 will be Matt Hoffman riding Blink 182. Kimberly Salmon and Duck Down will be in 18. Jason Comiskey and Tika in 19. And number 20 out in our novice shootout will be Thomas Hinman riding Destined to be a Grifter. So the first 6, Laura Comiskey and Woody. Number 2, Peter Black and Out of Time. Number 3 will be Ben Hall and Hall's According. 4 will be Steve Comiskey riding Dealt Me an Acre. Number 5 out will be Matthew Moffat riding Conflict. And number 6 out in the Anna Branch Santa Gertrudis novice shootout will be Kimberly Salmon riding Platinum Coals.